Welcome back to BoomShot. I'm Kale. This is Colby, and we've just finished watching The Last of Us Episode 8, When We Are in Need. Right, in this episode, I was in need of it. Because it was a really good episode, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into this starting now.
Boom, you looking for this?
Sorry for no reaction, by the way. We are too early.
We're too early.
Yeah, that rarely ever happens, but we're actually too early. We try to get together and watch this weekly, so... first of all, just jump right into it. What do you think about the episode?
It was good, man. It was definitely very intense.
Yeah.
And I felt a little exposed. I was like, dude, Joel's down. Ellie was trying to just help him, and she gets the medicine from these people, and then they turn on her. I'm usually looking for stuff like that, but I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
it kind of spooked me when he's standing there with the gun. I was like,
yeah, it did because okay, so we have to change our title because I played the game. So
you finished the game, right?
Yeah, I finished the game. I ran through the game. But yeah, in the game it's a little bit different. Like I think. So we see that Ellie meets David and James, and it's the same sequence as it is in the game. She shoots the deer, stumbles upon them because they found the deer, and she pulls the gun or whatever, and they trade for medicine. Where she gives the whole deer to them, and she gets the medicine, and because she had killed that rabbit that was early in the episode, she had already killed it. But so she gets the medicine, comes back, and they chase her down, and. Well, actually, while James is going to get the medicine, her and David go through this entire sequence in the game where they fight off a bunch of infected near this crazy. Abandoned sawmill / coal mine. I think it was what it was. But anyway, you learn that those were actually some of David's men that had turned.
What?
Yeah, but anyway, it was that whole sequence helped build the trust between David and Ellie. To where they got to the point where she's finally sitting down by the fire and he's talking to her about everything happens for a reason or whatever, and then drops the bombshell that he was the one who sent the people to eastern Colorado to find food, and that's where Joel killed a bunch of people. So
dang, yeah. I mean, like you said while we were watching it, they have time constraints and stuff.
Yeah.
But, I still thought it was pretty good because I really didn't see that coming. That part, I was like,
no, I didn't either. Especially I had read about the game before I played it, but even it shocked me whenever I was playing through.
Yeah,
and you get to that point, and he was like, "Yeah, everything happens for a reason." We sent these men to eastern Colorado.
That's just genius story.
Yeah, it was genius story writing, and and she points the gun at David in the game. And then James comes up behind him. It just happens. It times perfectly. But, James had been standing there already, which I think is so interesting. But I think the only reason I bring that whole sequence up in the game is because I think it helped to build the trust between David and Ellie to make that conversation make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Not that it didn't make sense, but it adds so much to the... And I think that's how it's supposed to be, is the game's supposed to add to the show and the show to the game. So
yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. They kind of go hand in hand from what I've heard and from what the creator himself has said and Craig Mazin and but yeah, I mean it was a good episode, man.
Yeah. Another thing that was different from the game is in the game they're not really a religious group. You see I want to say epithets or kind of allusions to it, but it's not really ever explicitly stated. And so that's something that's completely different from the game, which their whole religious heritage. I don't know if that's just a front that David's putting up because that's what he made it seem like.
At the end, he was saying he just told him that so they have something. He was like, "But you and me, we can leave or something." So the whole thing was just he was
basically giving them something to believe in, almost, I guess. Yeah. And then he was basically using their belief in a higher power to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he was doing.
Which is what exactly like you said, cult leaders do.
And that's because and Ellie asked him at one point, he's like, what do you tell him? Something about God? And he was like, no, I just tell them that so they have something to believe in, and I'm actually their father, or whatever. Yeah. So, and then he slaps the one girl that he feeds her own father to. Yeah. So really,
ridiculous.
And it's just like every cult leader, they think they're God.
Yeah, pretty much. And he eventually ends up, so that's not in the game, it's never really explicitly stated. In the game it's shown that they're more of a democracy more than anything. That's how he got elected leader. Really? It wasn't because of anything special about him, or I guess it was more about his abilities as a leader is why they elected him. But you openly see in the game multiple times where his people rebel against him because they're not necessarily scared of what will happen if they don't. And so like that's a little bit different than in the game, but yeah. And then another thing that they tweaked a little bit from the not tweaked. This is a pretty big change, at least from the way I interpreted it in the game, is the fact that like David wanted Ellie to be like his GF, bro, like.
Yeah, his wife. Man, that's another thing that's like a lot of cult leaders. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
They're all psychopaths. So, I mean, he at the end he got what was coming for him.
he did. Yeah, he had that coming for him, and that was an intense sequence because at that moment you're like rooting for Ellie. You're like, bro, you've got to do something, and you can see her like grasping, and and you're like, okay, and like she kills him, and then she just keeps on. Over and over and over again, you're like, okay, I think
it's like one of those things where you're like, yes, oh.
Yeah. What have we just unlocked? Like, and I mean, he makes that point that like she's just as violent as he is, and then you get to see that at the very end. So like maybe deep down he was probably like, I'm proud of you, which is kind of sus. But like, yeah, David was just a lot more sus. His voice in the game is super sus, but he's not like that kind of sus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the guy that played him, dude, he did a good job of portraying somebody that you wanted to have their head butchered.
Dude, literally, I just need to see Papa Frank go after that guy like we saw in Daredevil.
And that was another thing, like they were saying, and like Craig Mazin was saying, which I guess Neil Druckmann is the one who originally wrote it that way, because I was expecting, having not played the game, that Joel would come through, and just destroy everybody, which he does in the game. But I guess in the game he also doesn't kill David or James.
No, he doesn't. It happened just like that in the game, where she's like on the ground and he's about to kill her. He's not about to do what he was about to do in the show, and she like grasps for the thing and like cleaves him in the face and then just like turns over.
Dude, another moment that was really intense is when they kill the guy that voiced Joel, James, right?
Oh, dude, yeah, that happens just like it does in the game too.
That took me by surprise. It's kind of genius on her part though, because she stabs the butcher knife right next to her head and then she yeets him in the neck.
Yeah, it was incredibly smart. Like that just goes to show you how like on the fly, like quick thinking. Because I wouldn't have been thinking the same thing, but the fact that she bit him and she was like, "Oh wait, I have a bite mark."
She was thinking ahead.
Yeah, I have a bite mark, and so as soon as she gets laid down, she was like, "Oh yeah, I can probably use this to my advantage."
That gave me such like a bad feeling in my stomach when she was on that table.
Yeah, I know.
And then we see Joel. I guess it's before that, right? Walk through like the locker where they had humans that they were about to eat. So
and there's I mean, and that's an innate human thing. Like you shouldn't eat other people, other. And I mean, really, when you think about it, like you shouldn't eat any of your own species, like as an animal. That's just weird.
Yeah.
But because I mean, they're all your own kind, and so like to see, and you understand like why they're doing it because he's wanting his group to survive. But then you also like which one is more ethical, like starving your people until you can find food that you should be eating, or eating people, which is like one of the most unethical things that you can do. Yeah. And so, as a viewer, like especially if you support David's group, and on one hand you're like, I think like I like that. Like I don't like it, but like I understand why they're doing it. And then if you're not a supporter of David's group, you're like, ew, like that's disgusting.
Yeah. And I think they made him in such a way that it's pretty much impossible.
Yes.
To like David, but I mean, like you said, he was even trying to explain his motives to Ellie, which is another reason she was being smart. She was like, and when she bit him, she was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then she's like, he breaks his finger and bites.
Yeah, and in the game, like as soon as she bites, she escapes, and then like there's a whole freak out in the town because of because they're like, oh my gosh, you're infected now. And so like after time has passed, like because he says the exact same thing. He's like, she would have turned by now, and James was like, it looks freaking real to me. Like, and eventually, whenever she gets into the restaurant where things go down. And he does say the same thing. He's like, I know you're not infected. Like, nobody fights that hard to survive, which I think is a very good point. Like, it's smart thinking by David.
Yeah, I was thinking that when he said it. I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of a good point.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw, like, in the last episode, it kind of adds light to it. Like, they were thinking about killing themselves because they got infected. So, I don't know. Like, it was just a really good... in the game, and I wish we would have gotten to see more of this, just because I haven't felt like we've seen a Joel like super beast moment yet.
Yeah.
And in the game, as soon as he gets like healed, he like wakes up and he walks out and sees the people like roaming around, and he takes a lot of them down.
I would say the one glimpse of a beast mode moment is when he's in the sniper's nest, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And that was just a glimpse, and I was getting lit, bro.
Yeah, it was hype. Although I've been telling Colby for weeks that the last episode is going to be his favorite, and for those of you who played the game, you'll understand why. Comment below if you understand that. But it's gonna be insane because it's kind of the same thing, like, and it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder of a question an ethical question to answer, but you're gonna see like. You're going to be presented with an ethical situation. On the one hand, you're like, I understand what is like why this is happening, but also on the other hand, I get why people are reacting this way, or certain characters are reacting this way. Same thing with here. Like, I get why David's doing what he's doing, but also at the same time, that's completely unethical.
Yeah.
And so it does make you think. And I'd say it's a situation to where it's a lot more in the next episode. It's a lot easier to see the ends justify the means type thing. And so I'm excited for you to watch that. Sadly, I will be out of town. So
out of country.
I will be out of country. So I'll be in Honduras. I think, as we mentioned before. So yeah. Sadly, I'm not gonna be able to watch it live, but we're gonna try and FaceTime and watch it just because I gotta see your reaction. I'm pumped. So.
Yeah. You said the next episode is like 46 minutes. I was hoping for like 7 hours, but I'll settle.
Yeah.
I'll settle.
I mean, there's not a lot left in the story. Like that, the whole winter section is like, it's not a short section, but it's probably a good 2 to 3 hour playthrough if you take it slow, like, and explore. So yeah, there's not, and then the next section of the game is maybe an hour and a half at most. So it's kind of balancing out, and I wish they didn't have time constraints because there was a lot in this episode that they cut out that would have been awesome to see, like from Ellie's perspective. But they had to cut it out for time.
I think another thing, and this we probably would have reacted to, is when Joel calls Ellie baby girl. Like,
yeah.
They're talking about in after show recap or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a big step for their character development.
Yeah.
Especially his.
It was. I mean, it is. Like, going from the 2 episodes ago, he was saying, don't bring up Sarah, to the now he's equivocating what he had with Sarah to what he has with Ellie, and that's a big jump, and it shows you that they've been through a lot. And dude, in the game, I feel like I keep on saying it. They're in the game, their relationship is 10 times better too.
Yeah,
it's a lot. That moment in the game is pretty much the same, but it's built up a lot better, I guess I would say, just because you see them together so much more.
Yeah.
And whereas they're splitting attention between different B plots and all this other stuff, which makes sense. But
yeah, I mean, I think he just kind of realized how close he was to losing her.
Yeah.
And everything. I mean, she kind of she put in a lot of work the past couple episodes, dude.
Yeah, she really has.
Joel wouldn't be alive, and dude, she wouldn't be alive if she wasn't a beast.
Yeah, she really
she
wouldn't
was
be
going
alive.
ham, dude.
Yeah, she took down David in the game. David is ridiculous. Like, he's so hard to beat because you can't use. They have like a listen mode available where like you can like see people through walls, but like you can hear them through walls, but it visualizes it for you, so that way you know how you can sneak up on them or whatever. But like with David, you can only see him at certain points, so like he'll run and then you'll lose him, and it's so creepy because he could be like standing right next to you, but you like and it's dark in there too. And the fire's burning, and all you have is freaking bricks and a knife. That's it. And you got to take down David, and he's got a gun. So I was freaking out there in that whole sequence. I was like, oh my god.
That does sound creepy.
Yeah, it was. But I mean,
dude, how have we gotten the song without mentioning Joel's Punisher moment?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way to end it because yeah. So I was playing. When was it? I was playing during the week this past week, and Joel, as soon as he gets up, we're like, man, that penicillin works quick. It's a miracle drug. But he gets up, he takes down a guy with a stealth shiv, if you know, you know. And then he like interrogates these 2 guys, and he stabs the knife in a guy's knee, just like Papa Frank would do. He must have watched The Punisher before the world went dark. And he's like, what does he say? I forget.
When he stabs it in his knee,
yeah.
He's like, I can pop your kneecap off, and then he puts the knife in his mouth.
Yeah, he's like point on the map, and if it's not the location your buddy marks to, then I'm gonna kill both of you or whatever. The guy marks it on the map, and he takes the knife, stabs the dude, and the other guy behind him is like, bro, why would you what the heck? Why are you doing that?
I'm not telling you.
He's like, I'm not telling you anything. And Joel's like, it's okay. I believe him. Clubs him with a metal pipe. It really did feel like the Punisher.
I mean, he's right though. I mean, he had every. I mean, it was a good choice to believe him because that dude was probably scared for his life and his kneecap.
Yeah, rightfully so.
And he beats the other guy with a pipe. It looked like.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, like you might think they don't deserve it, but also these are the people that popped up at Colorado, University of Eastern Colorado, and caused this whole stuff to begin with.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, I don't think everyone there. I mean, even David said no. Only a few people were aware that they were cannibalizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
among
the people,
other things.
yeah. But I think the people he killed were the people that knew.
Yeah.
So they had to come back. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like Joel was like you just deserve it at that point. And when you're cannibalizing, you deserve that.
Yeah.
You 100% deserve that. Which Joel didn't know they were cannibalizing, but
dude, one of the things. This will be my closing thought that this show does so well is just like gut wrenching moments, dude.
Yeah.
Like that girl that Joel killed her father.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy obviously was self-defense, and then she gets slapped by David because she's concerned that she lost her father, and then they feed her what is, I guess, could be her father.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
probably.
that's just horrible, dude.
Or like it may have been dear me, but like just the thought that it could be her father, I think, is what makes it worse. Like, because you don't know. He's saying it's venison. But really, like...
Because that whole scene was really eerie. It was, like, quiet, and then people are asking, what is this? And when they were eating, it was dead silent. All you heard was the forks hitting the
Yeah, and everybody kind of, like, looked like it smelled kind of weird or tasted kind of weird, but nobody said anything. So, like, it's weird. It's weird. Nobody, like, I don't like, obviously, nobody likes cannibalism, and so they had it coming for them. They really did. I'm not sorry for what Ellie did to David, especially after they added that whole element of him trying to basically seduce her. Yeah. I'm glad that she did what she did to him. He deserved every single bit of that.
Yeah, he definitely had it coming.
Yeah,
I think he was reduced to atoms.
Yeah, he might have been. Dude. The only person I think that could have scarred him more is the Punisher. Or I guess Joel if he had seen.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Oh my gosh!
If Joel had seen what he tried to do to Ellie, dude. The amount of adrenaline that man's face would literally be caved in, dude. He would look worse than Agent Orange at the end of Punisher, dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm glad Ellie's the one that got the butcher his face in, but
yeah.
I mean, imagine, dude, Joel would have.
Absolutely. It would have unspeakable. He wouldn't have been able to recognize, which I'm sure you wouldn't be able to now.
That guy doesn't have
he doesn't have anything. Probably, yeah. Anyway. But let us know what you guys think or thought of the episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Probably you did like it. So, what do you, also, I want to ask, like, if you made it to this far, like, how do you like how they're deviating from the game? Are you okay with it? Do you wish they would have more of the game sequences in there? Do you wish they would deviate even more from the game? I just want to know that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.